and Flea are the membrane or
Yeah.
the nucleus
Yeah.
of the band.
For sure.
But there's something undeniable that John brings to the table
Yeah.
that I think elevated. It's the same. Remember when I forgot his name. Holy shit.
Who? Where? When?
The Eagles. Whenever Homie came in and
Joe Walsh.
Joe Walsh. Yeah. Whenever Joe Walsh entered the Eagles.
Yeah.
Whenever, you know what I mean? Like, everything was fine with the Eagles before.
Sure.
Everything was cool. Like, Glenn Fry and fucking Don Henley were killing it.
Yes.
They were doing good. Everything was fine.
But then they
Timothy
get this
was doing his
guy.
thing. Everything was cool. But then the moment Joe Walsh showed up, it's
Yeah.
like, you get life on the fast lane.
Yeah.
You get like
Yep.
this, you know what I mean? You get this like different
energy.
You know, yeah, and
Yeah.
it's just, you get that
Youth.
oh man, which is ironic, right? Because he's old as fuck.
Yeah.
But you get this like new spirit
Yeah.
to the band because I feel like it's exactly the same way. Like
Yeah.
the Chili Peppers were gonna be great regardless, but they wouldn't have hit something without John. The
Yeah.
same way that the Eagles wouldn't have hit that something without
For sure.
without Joe, right? And
Yeah.
like I said, Kiedis had been doing great. Flea was already legend, bass player, already had fucked up the game in that sense. You know, they already had, pre-John, they had some fucking slaps, like heavy, Blood Sugar Sex Magic was fucking raw.
That's with John.
Oh, that's with John. Sorry. What's the other one? One Hot Minute.
Yeah, that's whatever he left that they got Dave Navarro, and apparently they don't play anything from that album
Really?
because I think John said
Maybe I'm getting like the timeline mixed up in my head.
But no, before John, I think was Freaky Styley.
Freaky Styley.
Yeah.
Mother's Milk was in there somewhere.
Yeah, they had. That's when they had. I think Mother's Milk was that the first one that John did? I forget, but. Yeah, before it was just a lot of that, like,
Yeah.
like that kind of like really fast, kind of like
Slap
punk rock
bassy kind of,
yeah.
just continuing.
And then John, he started with that too with the band because it was fitting in, and then
He
he
just
took it
elevated
somewhere
man.
else.
He
and
just
then
elevated the band
funk
so
became
much.
a little slower and more like, I don't know what it is, especially in Blood Sugar. That besides Stadium Arcadium, Blood Sugar is always the one where I'm like, that's one of the greatest, coolest albums ever. There's so many funky jams in there when you can just hear them. Like, I don't know.
Is your favorite Chili Pepper song on that album ever?
Ooh,
Yeah.
That's a hard one. I mean, I got a lot, dude, but my favorite like funky song from them is on there. I love Purple Stain, you know that song? Two finger paint is not a sin.
Yeah.
I put my middle finger in her monthly blood.
Yeah.
Like so like nasty and just like they got so many funk grooves on there that are just undeniably. My favorite bass line from Flea on there too is
on there.
Which one is it? That bam. I forgot what song it is.
It's so funny. It's so funny where everybody lands. My favorite album is Stadium Arcadium, just the whole concept of it fully. But my favorite song, and it's so funny that you say about One Hot Minute, but my favorite song is Aeroplane.
Oh, that's a great fucking song. I mean,
You know
the
what I
kids
mean?
singing in the back. And
Yeah, it's
like,
fucking great.
It's great. And so whenever Josh played with them and toured, they would play that song.
Yeah,
that's the
yeah.
only time they ever played anything from there because he liked that song, I think. So.
Yeah. I think Aeroplane is fantastic.
It's a good song,
I think,
yeah.
I think that's what I've been noticing the most with me hearing this album is me having to contextualize. Like, first of all, we're in 2022.
Mm-hmm.
And we're getting a new Chili Peppers album, which is wild.
Yeah.
Like, in and of itself.
Yeah.
We're getting a new Chili Peppers album with John Frusciante. Wild.
Didn't think that was
Even
gonna
more
happen.
wild,
Yeah.
right? And then after all of that, you get some good quality music. They kind of, get a little weird and,
But they still got it.
they still have it.
Yeah.
And I look back at like every iteration of the band and like the evolution of them, and it's like so impressive.
It is really cool.
It's so impressive to kind of to see it, to be able to like reference back to it.
Yeah.
And like this new record, I don't think it's their best work so
No.
far. I don't think it's like, in the
I
top
agree.
5. I don't think it's their best work.
But it is damn good.
But it's pretty good.
Yeah,
and
there's some stuff
it's
in
still
there.
impressive.
After hearing it a few times, I'm like,
Yeah.
I noticed more and more.
I heard it.
especially
I
guitar
heard like
stuff
like 3 times.
and
Yeah.
something that doesn't get talked about enough. Chad Smith, I always thought he was a cool, solid drummer, and he's got such great character. But on this album, he does some stuff that I'm like, oh, damn.
Oh, you can switch it up.
Yeah, even on the single, the Black Summer or whatever, just the way it comes in, like the fast roll, and there's a lot of like drum. He's still a monster, and it fits so well with it. I love it.
Yeah, he's fantastic.
What's really funny, I've been hanging out with the new group of friends that they all hang out at this coffee shop that I go to, and all really cool people. And I'll never forget, I'd never had this moment before where I was just like, hey, you guys heard the new Chili Pepper song? And like the whole group of people were like, oh, you like Chili Peppers? And I was like,
oh, are we old, bro?
dude, it was so funny. I was like, you guys don't? Like, to me, it was just like, that's a staple band. Like,
Right.
I grew up because, like, getting into music, learning their songs, and, like, seeing them as, like, that's what a band is supposed to be. There's plenty of musical groups. There's plenty of people.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah, like, this is me, and I'm going to like to introduce the band this tour or this album cycle.
Yeah.
But they're like, no, they write the music together. It's them. They all put stuff in, and it becomes this thing. And it's
without one of them. The sum of the parts is whatever.
It is different, no matter what.
Yeah, whatever the saying is.
For sure. So, like, to me, it means something. Plus, like, that's the band that got my, I guess, Handsome Beast or Astro End, whatever you want to call my current groups. Like, because me and PB were in the dorm room in New Orleans, and we had Chili Peppers live at Slane Castle on.
Nice.
Just blasting it, watching them, because we do that all the time. Every once in a while, it's like, it's time to watch it again, because that's a great performance for, like, hundreds of thousands of people in Ireland or whatever. And they jammed so hard. And we had the door open, and in walks Nick, our current singer, lifelong friend, compadre. He comes in. We never met the guy, really. We saw him in the hallway, but he goes, y'all watching Chili Peppers at Slane Castle? We're like, yeah, man. Can I watch? Yeah. We just sat down and became friends because of that, and like talked about all of how much we love them. Started a band eventually because of like the same kind of idea, and we're still friends to these days. You know what I mean? We work together all the time.
And then slowly build this.
Yeah, exactly.
There's
so much.
Going.
They're very meaningful to me in that way.
Right.
It's more than just like this funky group about California. Like, yeah, they have that, but there's something else to it. And I'm not gonna sit here and try to like defend them or defend Anthony Kiedis. I understand sometimes the singer will turn off a band for you. I totally get that.
Are people turned off by him?
I think that's the main thing.
Is that what those friends were saying?
They all say the same thing. They're like, why do you gotta take your shirt off every video and always be like, the California, put the bottom, put the back, like that? Okay, I get it. That's his thing. That's part of his whatever. He's like, yeah, there's some people that go out there and do that. Why does some people got to go out there with the shades and always sing down and do this like mopey thing. Yeah, whatever. That's their thing. Yeah, like I
didn't know people had complaints about him like that.
Bro, apparently there's a lot out there. I was whatever. There's no such thing as a universally liked band, right?
Superficially, I guess you could see how I could see it, because I have superficial dislikes about random people in the music industry that I'm just
and there were bands that because of the singer I couldn't get into them, but years later I was like, what was I thinking? Like at the drive-in or the Mars Volta. At first, when I was into just punk rock, like just hardcore, like Black Flag and stuff, something about the way he was singing and this and that, I was like, I don't know what that is. That's too, like, not whiny, but there's something about it that I didn't like. And then years later, like, oh, that's one of my favorite bands ever. You know what I mean?
I personally prefer Mars Volta more than At the Drive-In.
I like them both for separate reasons, but the musical part.
But I think At the Drive-In is like very powerful.
They got the energy. They got the angst. Punk.
But I like the Mars Volta a fuck ton.
Dude, they're crazy.
Yeah, I really like.
Speaking of them, so John Theodore was the drummer for the first album, right? First 2-3 albums, and then now he's playing with Queens of Stone Age, and he happens to play this same kit right here, and I love him as a drummer. Yeah, and like I love Ludwig, and so every time Ludwig keeps posting these new these drum sets coming back out, the reissue of it and the big one. He's always playing on it and stuff. I'm just like,
that's tight.
There's always this connection with that band too that I always get. Like, favorite drums, one of my favorite drummers. He's in some of my favorite bands, and like it just happens.
I like the Mars Volta and the Thomas Pridgen age.
So I love that too. They're crazy and get weirder
Thomas
and weirder.
Pridgen was fucking wild, bro.
He's something else. He's one of those
crazy.
Like he's a prodigy. Like
yeah,
he can do anything. And some of the grooves are like, where's the one? Where's it starting over?
He knows
like,
where it is.
Yeah, he knows.
He knows.
Yeah, he's a monster.
And he's just like this the entire time.
Yeah,
he's not even with his hair in the way. I'm like, bro, what the fuck is going on? You know?
Yeah, just
so crazy to think about like the kinds of drummers, right? Because then you have like Tony Roaster, who's like very polished. You have Aaron Spears, who's like very polished.
He's a machine.
And, you know what I mean? But like Thomas just has this like presence, this like energy, which I think was perfect. And his auditioning process for that band was so crazy,
cool.
bro.
It's so awesome. There's them live at like Abbey Road or something like that. It's a cool performance. Like
I really enjoy. I was watching John Frusciante's an interview with. I might have been with Rick. To come to think about it, it doesn't matter. I was watching something. He auditioned for the Chili Peppers at 18.
Yeah, dude. And he was a big fan. Like, he saw him a few times and then,
18 years old. And, like, the greatest, the cool thing about, like, I know the critique that you're saying about how people are saying, like, oh, I can't get into, like, a certain kind of style, and they definitely have a certain kind of style, or maybe the singer or the frontman or whatever or something, right? But, like, you can't be in that band if you don't have an appreciation or know how to play other things also, because you need, like, just a small sliver of it. Like, John talks about how he was, like, crazy Jimi Hendrix for a while and was learning everything Jimi, and then he was learning everything Sex Pistols, and he was learning everything, you know? So it was, like, you have to have the affinity for those kinds of things or the ability without having to like play that.
Sure.
And still bring in little elements of that, or else the Chili Peppers are non-existent. And I think that's the powerful.
Yeah, they're not just a funk rap group or whatever you want to call it.
I don't even know how to classify them.
No,
because they're also like rock and roll, and I think that they've transcended past a certain part of like the zeitgeist of culture.
Yeah, and they have,
you know what I mean?
They have a thing where people say like, "Oh, we sound like the Chili Peppers." Like they became a sound.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I understand that.
Oh yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
I get that 100%. And I think about.
It's the same thing with the Strokes. Like the Strokes, they sound like a few other bands to me for sure, but they do have their sound. That's like this real like downstroke guitar with like real like melodic little guitar lines. You know, like with the crooning vocals on top, that kind of thing. Like they got their sound, you know, and a lot of other bands kind of have that vibe. And Arctic Monkeys kind of have that.
Arctic Monkeys have that a little bit. Yeah.
You know, so I get it. So a band can come in and really change like popular rock music like that, but to hold it over years and still have fans like us, you know, yeah, it's so cool.